My name is Esther Tanis, the CEO of Esther Inc. Insurance Agency, and we are back with the journey of an entrepreneur. The journey of an entrepreneur is a story of all business owners that they go through in building their business. I started my business with $10 and 2 kids and going through a separation. And I am still in business 19 years later. So I thought, what a great way to inspire other people. We help you, the small business owner, get tips from other professionals, from experts on how to build a business more effectively. Every day I help sell insurance to business owners, but I also love to give them tips and advice on how to make their businesses more successful. Previously on the journey of an entrepreneur.
And so what I did is I took my parenting, my love of parenting, my love of teaching, and I decided I'm going to start becoming registered and licensed and take all the courses I can. And so I actually became a financial advisor. So I would go to all my girlfriends' houses and I'd say, I'll bring the Danish, you put the coffee on, and we would just have fun. And we would talk about life and saving and college and how we were going to do that. And the next thing I knew, I was starting to gather clients. So we started at my kitchen table. After many years of being an advisor and raising my children, I decided I'm going to start my own firm. Wow. And so, again, probably jumped in the water because there were times I thought, what was I thinking?
We are back continuing our conversation with Susan Michael. When does it transition to an office space or?
Well, it started with a one-room tiny, first we built a office off my home, and we lived on 6 acres, overlooked the backyard. Separate entrance, it was lovely. So they would put them all on the bus, and I was working that whole day. And that consisted of throwing a load of laundry in, going back to the office, packing the dishwasher, going back to the office, taking calls. When people would come in, they would just come into the office. But in the meantime, I was sort of multitasking. And then we grew, and I needed more assistance. And so we went to a small office with two small offices and cubes, and then my office. That was right down Lawrenceville. Oh, and wow. Then the decision came, the kids were starting to get older, and I always said that they were a part of the business, like they grew with me.
Right.
And they would tell you, if you interviewed them, they think they were the first board of directors, and maybe in some sense they were. I would come home and say, I can't believe this happened at work today, and they'd say, Mom, what do you think, and do this? And I came home one day and said, I'm thinking I should move to a larger space. We really were ready. And they were like, do it, Mom, do it. And yes. So we did, and we kept moving, and here we are today in Kingston with, we have a gym, and they can shower, and young interns, so it's just a really fun place to work. So we sort of grew, and I say that to people, your business can grow with your children, but be transparent with them. They learn so much about budgeting and have the conversation. This is how much this new office is going to cost. Not sure. These are life journeys, and it's great for you to have them a part of it. You don't have to give details,
right.
But let them be a part of the decision.
That's right.
But they would tell you probably, I say it so nicely, if you interview them, we sound probably a little dysfunctional. So when you talk to my daughter, you'll probably hear some of the real stories, the real kind of reality. It sounds so good when you're just interviewing.
Susan, so the process of going through from one location to the other, then you are hiring people. Tell me, that's one of the challenges that a lot of business owners go through because they've never been a boss, per se, and now you have to be a boss. Tell me about that process.
Well, probably I could tell you, you'll learn a lot more from the mistakes I made than the ones I did well. I think when I first started, I often hired people that I got along with, that when in the interview we were a lot alike. Yeah. And then I think as you journey down and your businesses begin to grow, you realize that you need to fill your holes. And so we are to the interview process in which they go through several interns before I even, interviews before I even meet them. And by that point I know that they have been vetted so clearly on skills and ability. My interview, the last one as the CEO, should always be faith family firm. Where do they fit? Where do they fit in our culture? Right. That's my interview. After they've been vetted for abilities, their roles, understanding, they go through 3 or 4 interviews, and then the last one is me. And my interview is all about the heart, the core.
The core.
And so that's how we
I always hire on that. I just don't think it works when you don't.
But if I had started with that, I'm not sure the growth of the firm would be the same way. So I think what the big thing is when you're running a firm or you're starting anything, as you start to grow, it's let go. If you're going to be bigger and greater, it shouldn't be about you. In fact, it should be, they should be functioning almost better than when you're trying to come in. We always tell a funny story. We were going through an event, and I came in and said to a lot of my managers, I'll help you. I'm here. I'm going to help you. I cancel my meetings and I'm going to help you. And literally, it was a visual of they almost all jumped over their desks and said, please don't touch anything. But the sign of that is that's a functioning organization. So that's your goal, is to try to get to that, is to try to say, okay, I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not. And so how am I filling the holes? I think the one thing too is hire before you think you need them. If you find this person and you see that this is an opportunity, one of my faults was I would question myself a lot and say, well, I'm not sure we should do that right now. And then later on I realized, go with your instinct, go with your heart, go with your instinct. And usually you're right.
But you do your due diligence by testing their abilities and skills and making sure that they understand the roles.
And I think, I don't know if any of you have read that book, Snap.
I was going to ask, what book?
Snap is a great book. Patty Wood, and it's a very small book, but she talks about we as women often have an instinct and we negate it and we push it down. And that book has been almost my little Bible, and I was actually able to do a workshop with her for a couple of days. It is amazing to say, even where we sit as women in a conference room, or how we address things, or how we shake someone's hand. Those sound, oh, what does that mean? But it really does have a significance, and I think then we feel more empowered because we feel more in command of ourselves. And it negates some of our, you have to say, what did I feel? Why did I feel that? They often talk about women that have gone through divorce. When they reflect back on it, they say, the first time I had a sense and I pushed it down. And so, but we're all like that. It's every one of us can probably pull up 10 instances when we did that. But then it's how do we address it, and then how do we not have that happen again?
That's fantastic.
But Snap would be a great book for women that are starting a business to read. There you go.
So you don't have a business degree. You had to learn.
I was a teaching. I have a teaching degree.
Right. So here you are starting a business from just the logo, the name, the vision, the mission, the slogan, the building the systems in place and procedures. What other book do you use, or what workshops do you go to?
I read Traction, Traction. I read Traction, and Traction, we live by Traction. Our meetings are done by Traction. Our quarterly meetings, we fly. We have virtual employees. We fly them in for our quarterly meetings. That's been a great help for us. The Drama Triangle. And we talk about often in an office there are turtles and there are frogs, and so the frog is going, moving, and then we have turtles, and at a conference room you have to kind of look around the table and make sure that every turtle's spoken before the next time the
fox is already
is speaking. And I think that those are the type of books that I love to read. I'm always reading. I love it. But I think but Traction probably is our Bible here, because that helps the managers. And it also takes drama out of the firm, because people have feelings, and but if they know what is expected of them, success comes. And so we've used that.
Jim Collins says that if you have a strong culture and strong standards, then whatever doesn't fit just falls off.
Right.
And whatever fits just stays. But you have to have it defined, so this way it's not personal.
Absolutely.
I mean, many times I remember when I first started, it was my idea, right? It was not the company idea. I love that you said that the business is now running practically on its own with strong leaders and strong people that have great vision, because that's the goal.
Well, it's funny, because the real goal of a CEO is to replace her or himself with better.
That's right, better.
And so if you can say, okay, how can I replace myself with better? I think, and that's a little bit, but it's actually, it turns out to be empowering, because you feel like, wow, this is amazing that people are coming in with their own ideas. And I think stick to your core, have your vision, have your mission statement, and make sure everybody really knows it. We so many times will say, okay, that's a great idea, but how does that fit in with Faith Family Firm? How does that fit in? And sometimes the one thing that I think we do as business owners, small business owners, is we say, we're going to go here, and then we're going to go there. Or you go to a conference and you get a new idea and you come back. I think Traction, and then on top of Traction, having a real mission statement to say, okay.
Does it fit?
And top 3. We say only 3 things. So every quarter there are only three things. And we may remove one, but stick to three. I always say it's yellow, green, and red. And then you have, you know, the morning, noon, and night. So why should we be different in business? It should be, what are our top 3 things? Because if you can keep it to 3,
it's doable.
It's doable, and you don't get distracted. You don't. It's better for the clients. It's better for you. Just let's keep our vision and not because there's always a nice shiny object out there, and I think we're all guilty of, let's go for it. But sometimes you have to have good managers that say. I think you have to have people that sometimes say why. Why are we doing that?
Good.
Oh,
question.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Why? And when you do, it makes you stop.
And when you're in the beginning, you treat your business as part of you. It's almost the same person. The business and you are one, right? And you're emotional, and you don't have real identified a standard and a culture and and what's the goal of the business. And so when somebody questions you, the business owners get all.
Right, but it's like parenting, right?
Yeah.
I think when you've been a parent and you've gone through every stage, especially teenagehood, it's a gift, because it's really all it is running a business is parenting.
Yes,
and that's why when we talk to clients, we bring parenting back into it, because that's all we do in life is we parent, right? It's maybe not all well, but we do it.
we improve as time goes by.
School of hard knocks.
Yeah, definitely. So now you've started this business from your kitchen. You evolve, you get your storefront, your small one, then you get a medium one, and you make a decision to go to a much larger one. And your space here is absolutely magnificent, beautiful.
Thank you.
I love all the glass. It's so elegant and sophisticated. So, but that's a big jump financially. Now, give maybe some of, how did you make that? How did you say, okay, I can make that jump?
I think one of the first things a good small business owner can do when they're starting to grow is make sure you get a really strong finance person. And when you get that strong finance person, make sure you understand what they're doing. So have your weekly meetings with them. If you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business.
I love that you say
and
that.
So
say it again, girl.
It's true. And so that finance person has to be very confidential, but you have to be able to sit down with them and say, where are we, where we're going. And they need to be a strong enough personality that they give you really good advice.
Yes.
So that was probably
awesome.
One of your first and best hires. People don't do that
I
soon
tell
enough.
people, you don't have to be a bookkeeper, but understand bookkeeping. You don't have to be an accountant, but
and
understand
let that finance person teach you.
Yes.
Why do you see this? Why?
Right.
And that will give you the breadth of, oh, we can hire the next person, or oh, we should purchase that firm. And we have advisors. We actually have 12 advisors in 6 states that clear through us, and so that's a whole different entity. They also have their, so it's really a fun place to be. And
Tell
they
me
all
how
have
much
different
is involved.
offices.
You just talked about outside
Right,
advisors.
we do. We have an office in Freehold. Kathy LeBou, a female, runs that office, and we have one in Langhorne. We have one in Arkansas from a friend of mine that was with Merrill Lynch. He's out there. We have an office down in Delaware. So there's a lot of, and that's a woman-owned business also.
So these are franchises of yours?
No,
or
they're actually
partners?
independent advisors that need a introducing broker-dealer, and they're RIAs, and they clear through us. And so it's a lot of fun to have them. And it also gives us the strength of people coming together. We have investment committee meetings. We come together. They share ideas. And it's other women who say, you know what, I want to be a part of a woman-owned business, but I want to run my own office. And they do, and they have their own staff. And it's a really fun environment.
So when did that happen? How long ago did you make that shift?
In 2002, when I started the firm, there were women that came along, and so they slowly but surely have come, and we're really excited about it. We were just, in fact, as a firm, we were just picked as the top 100 in Barron's independent women advisors. So we're very proud of that. We're really proud of that, and to be a certified women business. And I would tell women, if they're starting a business, to really look into that. Become certified, become a woman business owner. It really can open so many doors to you. We want to help, we're all nurturers, we want to help each other.
That's right.
And so I think it helps us build. So I really think women you have to look at other women, younger women, older women, and just help each other. And we're great at that. We're born nurturers, we're great.
Susan, I can feel that you love what you do. And I always say, you
it.
have to love what you do. You can't sell something you don't love.
You can't.
You can't.
No, I agree. You really can't.
And
I loved mothering, and I think that's what this is. If you love to
Absolutely.
parent, I loved being a parent. And then they grow up. So this is my new baby.
So, but now your children are older, mature, and then now they're really part of the organization. And we're going to bring in Carol Ann, your oldest, your youngest. Which one? She's
Carol Ann is number 3.
Number 3.
She has 2 older brothers. Our oldest son went to Annapolis and then served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and now he's in marketing and finance in the city. So he is not a part of the everyday firm. But what we do have is we have a family board, and I would tell anyone that has a business, they say, oh, I'm not big enough. Start really young, start in the beginning. Have a family board, because if something happens to you on the way home from work,
they know what's going on.
You don't want them to be sitting around that table the first time all together. You want them to understand the mission of the firm. You want them to understand. So we actually go away every year, all of us, and we have a family board meeting. And our other son had gone to Yale, and then he went to law school, and he's a 40 Act lawyer in the city. He's not a part of the firm, but he comes, and he's a gift. And his not.
Absolutely.
Carol Ann is number 3, and she's the only girl. I tell her I earned her. I love my boys, but I earned my daughter. And so she has just joined a year ago, but not right away. She'll tell you her journey. And then our youngest son, after Yale, went investment banking and said, you know, Mom, I want to work with people. And so he went back to Wharton, got his Wharton degree, and just recently joined us and is starting a completely, almost another firm within the firm. And so I said to them, I don't want managers, I want entrepreneurs. And so I actually just brought 2 more entrepreneurs into who are starting their own businesses within the firm.
Love it.
So we're a little overwhelmed, but a good overwhelmed.
Yes, yes.
And I would tell you,
it's almost like you're birthing again a new.
I think people have to really say, no, you can't come back right away. Go out.
Oh,
and then when they do come back, you're
season
wowed.
and
You're
experience.
wowed.
I love that.
So
Tune in next week to hear the rest of her story. Susan Michael, owner of GlenEagle.